Why do you weep for a creature that shivers and starves? Its melody is chaotic. It strains its throat in agony just to be heard. Look how it suffers under the weight of its own fragile nature. True peace is uniform. Okay, let's dive right into this dark Gothic fable. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a seriously chilling architectural and philosophical nightmare known as the Iron Parish and the Pale Cynic. Rooted deeply in subterranean Harz Mountain folklore, we're going to explore a story that takes Nietzschean ideas like resentment, the death of human exceptionalism, and the rise of the ultimate conformist, the last man, and literally turns them into a terrifying mechanical reality. Through this fable, we're going to see exactly what happens when the Faustian drive for greatness is systematically dismantled by a new archetype, the anti-scholar, someone who trades enlightenment for the cold, seductive comfort of total uniformity. So, to really wrap our heads around the archetype of the pale cynic, we have to start by examining the macro environment he's built. It's called Eisenheim, the Iron Parish. Drawing from ancient myths of dwarven, subterranean foundries beneath the Harz Mountains, it's this Gothic industrial setting wrapped in a perpetual ash-choked twilight. And, this isn't just a grim place to live. It's the physical manifestation of a philosophical doctrine. By stripping away natural light and vibrant colors, Eisenheim strips away the environmental triggers for human passion. In this world, the very concept of nonconformity has been completely eradicated. Compliance isn't just expected, it is absolutely the only virtue. Just imagine looking up at what should be a place of spiritual transcendence, like a cathedral. But instead of carved stone and soaring spires reaching for the heavens, that classic symbol of Faustian striving for greatness, you see towering structures made entirely of riveted boiler plates and rusted iron beams. And those beautiful, multicolored stained glass windows you'd expect, ripped out. In their place are thick, blackened smoke lenses. These lenses actively filter the sun, reducing daylight into a pale, sickly, oppressive gray. It's an environment purposefully designed to keep the human gaze directed firmly downward. And this brings us right to the core conflict of Eisenheim. Individuality isn't just frowned upon here, it's treated as a malignant plague that desperately needs a cure. And the cure? Uniformity. Human voices are never raised in song or passionate debate. Instead, the ambient noise of this entire world is the rhythmic, deafening thump, hiss of massive steam pistons, accompanied by the low, collective chanting of the populace. They endlessly repeat industrial mantras. Their human voices are entirely flattened into a mechanical murmur, which perfectly heralds the arrival of what philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche called the last man, a society that essentially invents happiness through complete homogenization. Section 1. Bestiary of the Tarantula's Brood. To enforce this suffocating doctrine, the Pale Cynic relies on three primary tiers of enforcers: der Bleichhoveber, or the overseers, der Letztertag, the foot soldiers, and die Aschenkanzler, the priesthood. But here is the most horrifying detail about all this. These aren't just robots. These thralls are actually human beings whose natural strivings have been surgically flattened into specialized machinery. They are fueled entirely by a deep-seated resentment of anything that still possesses free will. First up, we have the overseers der Bleichweber, or the Pale Weaver. They're spun directly from the raw malice of what the text calls the tarantula philosophy. They're multi-limbed, they scurry across the overhead iron girders of Eisenheim, and they hide their faces behind blank porcelain masks. Their primary function is genuinely terrifying. They don't just watch the workers physically, they weave webs of conductive silver wire to monitor the neural outputs of the populace. They are literally scanning minds to instantly detect and crush any sudden spike in creative thought. Next are the foot soldiers, der Letztertakt, or the last beat. Back in the past, these heavy, ironclad enforcers were once proud knights. They represented the ascending Übermenschen, the individuals striving for ultimate human greatness and self-mastery. But in their present state, they've been reduced to hypnotic, will-less clockwork soldiers. This is the ultimate victory for the Pale Cynic. He takes the very symbols of exceptionalism and hollows them out until there's absolutely nothing left but obedience. The physical alteration of these foot soldiers is deeply symbolic, and it totally echoes the dark folklore of the Sandman, a mythical figure who steals the vital human parts of his victims. Here, the pale cynic has surgically replaced their human hearts with a giant, uniform clockwork pendulum, and crucially, this pendulum beats right through a glass chest plate for everyone to see. They march through the cobblestone streets in flawless, hypnotic unison. They're physically unstoppable, for sure, but completely and utterly drained of any personal will. Perfect timekeeping is valued far above human vitality. The final tier of the brood is the priesthood, Die Aschen Kanzler, or the Ash Chancellors. They wander the streets in heavy black robes with brass gramophone horns where their lower jaws should be. They act as the ultimate Faustian anti-scholars. See, instead of pursuing knowledge to elevate humanity, they weaponize it to suppress us. They endlessly blast philological paradoxes and nihilistic doctrines into the streets. It's basically a psychological weapon designed to lull the minds of the weary workers into a state of comfortable, unthinking compliance. Section 2. The Parable of the Clockwork Nightingale. This part of the story begins in the earliest days of the Iron Parish, way back before the sky was completely choked out by coal smoke. A young girl named Greta makes an incredible discovery. She finds a golden nightingale frozen in the winter frost. Now, you have to remember the context of the citizens here. Their voices have already been flattened into dull, mechanical murmurs. But this bird is different. It's alive, and when it sings, it produces a wild, ascending melody that shatters the auditory oppression of the city. The reaction to this song is immediate and profound. The factory workers literally drop their heavy iron wrenches. The golden bird's song does something incredibly dangerous. It reminds them of the high mountains, of individual longing, and of a time before the Great Leveling. And this brilliantly illustrates a core theme of the fable. True, untamed beauty is inherently disruptive. It completely breaks the hypnotic rhythm of the factory and instantly threatens the pale cynic's carefully constructed doctrine of uniformity. Word of this disruption quickly travels up to the highest tier of the Iron Parish. Cynic, the pale cynic himself, descends from his throne of cold gears like a mechanical sandman coming to claim his prize. He walks into the gaslit plaza carrying a small lacquer box. But notice he doesn't order the bird killed with fire or lead. Cynic is an anti-scholar of control. He knows that making a martyr out of the bird will only feed the human spirit. So instead, he speaks to the crowd, gently plucks the bird from Greta's hands, and injects a single drop of thick, amber tarantula venom directly into its beak. The absolutely crucial point here is why Cynic does this. He asks the workers why they weep for a creature that strains its throat in agony just to be heard. He tells them, look how it suffers under the weight of its own fragile nature. True peace is uniform. He completely leverages their empathy against them. Driven by a deep resentment of the chaotic, striving spirit, he uses this twisted philosophical stance to justify leveling all organic exceptionalism. He frames wildness and ambition as nothing but unnecessary suffering. The venom doesn't kill the nightingale. Instead, it causes a chilling physical transformation right in front of the worker's eyes. The organic beauty of the bird, its soft golden feathers and bright, curious black eyes, is instantly corrupted. Those feathers harden into overlapping brass scales. Those curious eyes cloud over and solidify into flat, sightless white glass beads. The wild creature has been totally mechanically assimilated. Cynic sets the transformed bird back down on the cold stone. It opens its beak and begins to sing once more. But the tragedy is absolute. The soaring, erratic, unpredictable melody of the wild is completely gone. In its place, the bird now produces a perfect, rhythmic, unchanging tick-tick-plick. It sings to the exact metronomic tempo of the factory's master clock. The ultimate symbol of freedom has been perfectly synchronized to the rhythm of industry. Now, we arrive at the most devastating psychological insight of the parable. When the workers hear this new mechanical clicking, they don't riot, they don't scream in anger. Instead, their heavy hearts feel a terrible, seductive relief. The painful, sharp yearning that the original song sparked inside them simply vanishes. It's replaced by a comfortable, hollow numbness. This perfectly captures the paradox of the pale cynic's world, and really the triumph of the last man. The painful, exhausting drive for greatness is just so easily replaced by the seductive, effortless ease of simply giving up. And so, the great leveling is complete. One by one, the workers turn their faces away from the sky. They pick up their wrenches and march back to their assembly lines, their footsteps now falling perfectly in sync with the clicking of the clockwork bird. The story ends with Cynic smiling a bitter, unblinking smile behind his porcelain mask. He knows that the very last spark of the upper world, the last hint of the Übermensch's striving, has been successfully flattened right into the dirt. We've explored the terrifying architecture of Eisenheim, the philosophical enforcement of the Tarantula's brood, and the tragic flattening of the golden nightingale. But, the true power of a fable like this is how it asks us to examine our own world. Does the comfortable numbness of modern industry offer us the same seductive, hollow relief as the clockwork bird? When we trade our chaotic individual striving for the seamless, uniform predictability of the modern machine, are we finding true peace, or are we simply taking the pale cynic's venom? It's a chilling thought to leave you with, and definitely something to consider the next time you find yourself perfectly in sync with the rhythm of the everyday grind.